Good evening, Scotland. Good evening, social media land. I hope you're well. It is Friday, the 6th of December, 2024. Welcome to Saorsa Live. We are streaming across YouTube and TikTok tonight, so do please take the time to like and share across these platforms and say hello in the comments to join in the positive conversation. If you do lose the live stream for any purpose, please head to the other one and continue to chat there. We're also recording the live and all the comments as well to ensure the security and integrity of the stream. What a week it has been for me personally. We'll come on to that later. But tonight we're going to do things a little bit different. I would usually briefly touch on the main talking points of the videos that I've made during the week. But to be fair, there's been so much going on at work and in the world of indie that sticking to the theme was pretty tough. So what we're going to do is we're going to discuss and comment on the following tonight, excuse me, as it's all truly relevant to prepare ourselves for the fight ahead towards 2026 or even sooner if the put my teeth back in. If the budget doesn't get passed, we could be in a situation where we are going to end up in a Scottish general election even sooner. I don't think it'll come to that, but we'll wait and see. So we're going to be talking about the budget. We're going to talk about Keir Starmer's reaction to it, the Unionist reaction to it, and we'll also hit that wee story about the kingmakers of reform coming out and deliberately stating that they would support Labour in Scotland installing Anas Sarwar as the new First Minister. That was right at the start of the week. That just totally changed my whole direction for what I was doing this week. We're going to talk a bit about digital activism, and then we're going to finish off with a presentation which some might feel a bit dull, but I need to record it anyway and I want to do it live, about the additional member system. And I've got a slideshow, a presentation and things to show you that will make it interesting for those that believed in both votes for the SNP. This is not me criticising, yes, it's me just showing you gently that things could have been a wee bit different. Okay, so as per usual though, we're going to start off with this jingle about liking and sharing and how important it is to share the message. We start our lives with an important reminder that we are fighting one of the world's greatest propaganda machines, the British state and their right-wing oligarch-run media. To combat this, we ask that you always follow, like and share and comment positively across all social media platforms on any of your favourite Scottish independents, creators and commentators. By doing this, you help to spread the word of our cause and manipulate social media algorithms to benefit our struggle. So please, for now, like and share this live stream, and if you haven't already, follow this account. Thank you. Right, let's have a quick look across in both little lands. YouTube land. Again, you're destroying TikTok land with the amount of people across here. Zen Bloke, Ruth, Shirley, Kareem's over there as well, but he also jumped across to TikTok land as well. So and Indie Dave was there too, and John, Age of Aquarius. Listen, guys, thank you so much for always joining us. If you have not had your name mentioned, please say hello in the chat in YouTube land. If you're not able to chat, you need to subscribe first, wait 5 minutes, and then you will be able to do so. TikTok land, there's Geordie laughing, and Leah, and Kareem, yep, and there's Striven, Mark as well, K9 family. Good. Listen, thank you everybody for joining. In TikTok land, apparently we're not allowed to ask you to push the button that or tap the screen as much anymore. We're not supposed to do that. We can get into trouble for that in the algorithm and the T's and C's apparently. So whatever you do, don't cause love hearts to flow up the side of your screen. Do that. Let's see if we can beat our record of 12,000 love hearts, all right, across in TikTok land. Okay, listen, I'm really glad that you've all come across today. I'm sorry if it gets a wee bit dull towards the end, but I do need to get the message out onto it recorded and somewhere where people can come and see a positive opinion about the additional member system. But the budget, let's talk about the budget. Wow. The SNP sent a powerful message, a message that Scotland cares. In the Scottish budget, Finance Minister Shona Robinson announced a transformative policies aimed at real progress. The 2-child benefit cap gone in Scotland. Consulting just now, but it will be gone within a year. 21 billion for health and social care, 2 billion directly for NHS frontline services, 768 million for affordable housing, 800 million to boost social security benefits, and universal winter fuel payments for pensioners. Expanded free school meals. This is a government that's putting people first. You know? Amazing. A government that fights for pensioners, for healthcare and for homes. And a government that takes green issues seriously. Government not answerable to Westminster management in the same way that the Labour Party, the Tories and the Lib Dems are, you know. But let's not ignore the reality. This caring agenda is being held back by Westminster, held back by the constraints of a union that stifles Scotland's ambitions. While Scotland tries to deliver for its people, Westminster's priorities are clear. Indifference, callousness and I would say they're shifting towards the right wing, even progressively far right. The Tories predictably despise these plans. Labour, I don't think they'll back them either. Hopefully they will. Well, Westminster certainly don't. Anas Sarwar, Labour's puppet leader in Scotland, will twist himself in knots, trying to justify opposing measures that help Scots. And all the while, Keir Starmer in London pushes meaningless narrative of missions that nobody understands or believes in. Because the truth is, Labour doesn't care. Scotland does not need more Westminster constraints, no more hollow promises from London politicians. Scotland deserves to break free and take full control. The SNP's agenda is far from perfect, but it is miles ahead of Starmer's Labour. It's a step towards compassion, and if delivered, it will expose Labour's brief resurgence in Scotland as the hollow facade that it is. But to truly succeed, we must demand and fight hard for independence, because only independence can give Scotland the government it deserves, a government for its people, by its people. And we can never forget that. So what was Starmer's reaction to all this? Well, he dismissed the SNP's plan to scrap the 2-child benefit cap, stating it was not a silver bullet to tackle child poverty. The Prime Minister claimed Labour would drive down child poverty, but refused to commit to scrapping the cap, a policy widely blamed for rising child poverty across the UK. But please remember this. Out of the 37 Labour MPs in Scotland, the ones that people voted for to get the Tories out in July, 36 of them voted to retain the 2-child benefit cap thing. They're nothing but lobby fodder. How could they do that? You know, it's just ridiculous. This is Labour, the Labour Party. Boggles my mind. Starmer's argued that tackling poverty required addressing housing, health and education, suggesting that SNP's actions weren't serious. Is that right? Aye. So 768 million for affordable housing, 21 billion for health and social care, including 2 billion for frontline NHS services, 800 million boost for social security, record high spending in all areas of education, including expanding free school meals for children and the continuation of tuition-free higher education. Come on, Mr. Unionist Prime Minister, you can do better than that, can't you? But what does his refusal to support this policy really show? It shows that Labour, under Starmer, remains disconnected from the realities of life in Scotland. It shows a lack of understanding of the devastating impact Westminster's policies have had on Scottish families. And it shows a leader more interested in vague milestones and missions than tangible change. He was speaking his keynote speech from Pinewood Studios. Is that not just a perfect place to be talking fiction? Starmer unveiled 6 milestones for the government, confusingly similar to the manifesto missions he made, as we have seen from his manifesto promises lacking any form or substance, and these milestones were criticised for being unclear and disconnected from people's real needs. Meanwhile, Scotland's government has taken bold steps to ease poverty, even with the straitjacket of Westminster constraints. Shona Robinson confirmed the SNP would mitigate the benefit cap by 2026, a move that will bring real relief to Scottish families. First Minister John Swinney challenged Westminster not to stand in Scotland's way. While the SNP acts, Labour talks in circles. Keir Starmer's response to the Scottish budget is not just out of touch, it's a glaring reminder that Westminster's priorities do not align with Scotland's needs. Not one bit.
My name is Kareem and I want to build a better Scotland by progress with a well-being economy so everyone in our land can live in dignity and security. What would you do to build a better Scotland?
I think the SNP have done a wee bit of that building a better Scotland with the budget. That's pretty cool. Okay. So Westminster in all this has tried to reassert itself as well. Keir Starmer's reaction to the SNP budget was as predictable as it is infuriating. After being blindsided by the Scottish Government that puts its people first, Starmer and his Labour colleagues are scrambling to reassert Westminster's dominance. Now, Labour has openly declared its intention to interfere in devolved matters, whether Scotland wants it or not. They talk of collectively making a difference across the UK, aligning efforts across every level of government. But let's be clear, this is not partnership, it's control. Just like the Tories before them, Labour can't handle the idea of Scotland that dares to govern itself effectively. They claim to have reset the relationship with the Scottish Government, but this so-called reset looks more like a hostile takeover. Starmer's Labour now wants a hand in Scotland's policing, health and even children's services, areas explicitly devolved to Holyrood. Sound familiar a wee bit? It's the same paternalistic rhetoric the Tories used when they overruled Scotland on Brexit and forced through laws Scotland did not vote for. Labour's actions show they are no different. They're treating Scotland not as an equal partner, but as a colony, meddling in the areas they have no business touching. This is typical Westminster behaviour, an arrogant scramble to dominate when outclassed by better politicians with stronger ideas. The SNP's budget has exposed Starmer's insecurity. While Scotland fights to address child poverty, improve healthcare and build a fairer society, Labour's answer is to impose itself on devolved powers it neither understands or respects. This isn't democracy, it's a dictatorship by another name. If Labour were serious about helping Scotland, they'd respect Holyrood's authority, but instead they're proving that the Union is nothing more than Westminster's stranglehold on Scotland's progress. It's a disgrace. It's disgusting. We don't need this. We need to fight harder and better and smarter to get out of this. We really do. What have been the Unionists in the streets' reaction? The sort of comments you've been seeing on social media? Well, Unionist arguments are predictable as they are misleading. They boast about the Barnett formula, claiming it's a testament to the Union's generosity. They point out that Scotland receives more per capita in public spending than England, 14,000 compared to about 12,000. They say this shows Scotland benefits financially for being part of the UK. But what they won't tell you is how much Scotland sends to Westminster in the first place. In 2023, 88.5 billion in tax revenue. Yet decisions on how that money is spent lies firmly with Westminster. We received 41 billion back in form of our block grant. So the so-called generosity of the Barnett formula is nothing more than Scotland receiving a fraction of what it sends. This isn't fairness. This isn't generosity. This is control. The Barnett formula ties Scotland's funding to decisions made in England, ignoring our unique challenges and priorities. It doesn't account for the costs of supporting rural communities, tackling poverty, or addressing healthcare needs. Instead, Westminster spends on our behalf with little input from Scotland itself. Unionists love their sound bites, pooling and sharing resources, stronger together, the UK dividend. But the truth is, Scotland's wealth is being pooled and shared with everyone, apart from Scotland. Independence isn't about slogans or sound bites. It's about control, a control over our future. It's about ensuring that Scotland's resources are used for Scotland's people, not siphoned off by Westminster. We need this freedom to invest in our future, and that freedom will come with independence.
Scotland's budget proves what a government that cares can achieve. Scrapping the two-child cap, boosting housing and social security, and record funding for health and education, all delivered by the SNP within Westminster's constraints. But what's Westminster's response? Keir Starmer dismissed Scotland's progress, claiming it's not a silver bullet, while Labour vows to meddle in devolved policies, acting like a colonial master. And Unionists? They parrot the same tired lines about the Barnett formula, ignoring that Scotland generates billions more than it gets back. Why does Westminster cling so tightly to Scotland? Because they know our potential. Scotland deserves freedom, not interference, control over our resources, our policies, and our future. Independence isn't just an idea. It's the only way forward for a nation held back by Westminster's priorities. Do we let them keep taking? Or do we take a stand?
Sorry, I just got distracted reading some of the comments in TikTok. Best one, where is it? I've lost it. Oh man, where has it gone? From Saorsa, Labour is mince. I just about spluttered all over my desk with my juice. Reading that, Labour is mince. It is mince. They're rubbish. They're just full of it, aren't they? Where do we go? CJ Photo, please don't gloss over how ridiculous and dangerous this something. I don't know what you mean. The knobbags count the PAYE tax, and yeah, you're right, Claire. Listen, thank you for the gifts as well, people across in TikTok land. It's genuinely nice. Somebody has to remind me to go and check on what I do with those gifts. I have no idea how it works, but as soon as we get up to an amount that I can withdraw, that might just be a tenner or something like that, we'll give it off to a Palestinian charity, because that's what I want to do with it. I've always said that. There's Dan as well. Dan's joined us in TikTok land too. Let's have a quick look. Barry, I'm not doing poetry on this channel, all right? Thank God. He'll probably be thinking, my poetry is great. I've got a book of poetry. You know that. It's published and everything. I've sold 2 copies. It's amazing. Utterly amazing. And YouTube land, wow, there's 19 of you watching tonight. I'm really pleased. Thank you for coming there. Listen, that was a long segment about the the budget there. But what do you feel about it? What do you think? Do you think that it's a bit of a positive budget for Scotland, but also a bit of really sort of clever politicking by the SNP? I think it's both. I was at work when all that was announced, and I was looking at my phone going, is that right? Oh, that can't be right. And I felt a bit giddy. I felt a bit positive about the whole thing. I thought, that's brilliant. A, for the people when it actually gets working, but also it puts Anas Sarwar's Labour in Scotland in a little bit of a back foot there as well, because how can they be a party that will vote against that? You know, how can they turn around and be the party that votes against the mitigation of the 2-child benefit cap? They'll find a way to take credit for it. It's the generosity of the Barnett formula. It's like, oh, the record amount of money that the Labour government in Westminster has given you. No, mate, it's called Barnett consequentials. It's when Labour are spending more money in England, therefore we get more money in Scotland. But with independence, we'd still have even more money, wouldn't we? I think so. Holy crap. Oh, we've hit 11.1 thousand likes across in TikTok land, and we've only finished the first segment. Thank you for tapping the hearty bits, which I'm really, really, really grateful for. The likes in TikTok, by the way, what happens is if the more that comes in, the more opportunity the algorithm picks up going, oh, this is like engaging. And then it kind of grabs it and sticks it on other people's For You pages. That's why you hit the wee heart button and you do it repeatedly in TikTok, which is really positive. We're going to be talking about the algorithm a little bit later, and, you know, working to do a bit of digital activism as well. Hi, Aaron. How are you? Hope you're good. TikTok land. And what have we got? Anything going over here? Right, cool. Listen, I want to quickly go on about the Reform Kingmakers. They seem to be a bit flexing a little bit about, you know, coming to Scotland and stuff. So Nigel Farage's right-wing political vanity project has made its intentions for Scotland quite clear. They plan to crown Anas Sarwar as First Minister after the 2026 Holyrood elections. I want to stop just there for a second, right? This is just a bit of fun, all right? When I was making this video, like for YouTube this week, there's a section in it where it says First Minister after the 2026 Holyrood elections. I said the word election wrong 5 times. I replaced the L with an R and said the word for whatever, you know. I was raging and laughing, and then when I watched it back, it was hilarious. It's nothing to do with this, but I had to share that with you. I'm going to actually record it as an outtake and stick it up somewhere because it is pretty funny. Anyway, they plan to crown Anas Sarwar in the 2026 Holyrood elections, not because they believe in Labour's vision, but because they hate the SNP more than they care about Scotland. Just let that sink in. A party with no roots in Scotland and no interest in its people positioning itself as kingmaker. Their goal? To prop up the Unionist establishment at any cost and then dismantle everything Scotland has fought to achieve. This should send shockwaves through every Scot, Unionist or pro-independence alike. To make it worse, we've seen Labour's disdain for Scotland before, but now we see Keir Starmer cozying up to Nigel Farage in Westminster. We actually see him crossing the chamber. Here we go, watch this. Here he is, crossing the chamber to shake hands and get all buddy-buddy with Mr. Businessman there from the Nigel... Well, it is. I mean, look, that's kissing the ring, man. That's kissing the ring. That's kind of totally disappointing, isn't it? Let's play that again, just for the cheap seats. We'll play that again. Hold on. There we go. Keir Starmer gets up from his seat. I've never seen a Prime Minister do this before. Walk up to the back benches of the opposition, like reach out, looks like he's grabbing his belt, has a good wee chuckly chuckle. Oh yeah, it's okay, I love you, Nigel. I love your suit. Where do you get your suit from? You're amazing. Your hairdo's fantastic. Go and help me out with Scotland, please. I mean, really? Yeah, the cheap seats. That's exactly right, Dan. But do you know what? It's kind of frustrating, isn't it? Reform UK, a party openly hostile to Scotland's interests, should disgust anyone with a shred of decency. Their agenda for us is absolutely no secret. Their leader, Richard Tice, and their figurehead, Nigel Farage. Wait now. Nigel's the leader, isn't he? And Richard Tice. He's the deputy. I know that Nigel owns 51% of the shares. Anyway, they've openly called for the abolition of Holyrood, stripping Scotland of its parliament and returning full control to Westminster. They're not just anti-SNP, they're anti-Scottish. And if they gain any seats in Holyrood, they'll drag Scotland backwards and entrench Westminster control, block independence at every single turn. This is not time for infighting or hesitation. Yes, the budget is a step forward, but no budget can fix those willing to vote for a party that seeks to destroy Scotland's democracy. The only way to stop this is with unity and a good plan, a bit of tactical voting and understanding the voting system and preparing for 2026. The SNP, the Greens, ALPA, ISP and every single individual person that will be standing on the list as an independent candidate for independence, they need to work together. And if you think for 1 second not working together is going to be, going to be the right thing, that political hegemony is going to be the right thing, you're kidding yourselves. We will lose Holyrood. We will lose Holyrood to the Unionists. We need to keep Holyrood, okay? It's very important. Reform UK is like a Trojan horse carrying Westminster's agenda straight to the heart of Scotland, the extreme end of it. If we let them succeed, it won't just be a defeat for the SNP, but a defeat for Scotland itself. And we can't let that happen.
Reform UK, led by Nigel Farage, plans to crown Anas Sarwar as First Minister, not out of support for Labour's vision, but out of hatred for the SNP. A party with no roots in Scotland is positioning itself to dismantle everything our Parliament has achieved. Their leader openly calls for the abolition of Holyrood, aiming to return Scotland to Westminster's control. This isn't just anti-SNP, it's anti-Scotland. If Reform gains seats in Holyrood, they'll block independence and drag us backward. The only way to stop this is unity. Pro-independence parties must work together to outnumber Unionists and far-right reformers. Do we let those who despise Scotland's progress decide our future? Or do we unite to ensure Holyrood remains the voice of Scotland and independence becomes our reality?
Right, so the upside of it is that the devolution settlement, the people of Scotland need to actually take a vote to dismantle Holyrood. But there's going to be a way that they'll get round that. Something will happen and they'll try to get round it. It's pretty scary. Gravy DJ, we need to mobilise. This will be one on the doorsteps. Yeah. The doorsteps and the digital battlefield as well. There's during the winter months, people will be cozy in their houses, and it's things like what I'm doing here and other people within Saorsa putting out memes and small short videos, and everybody who doesn't create stuff to like and share it. And that's what we're going on to next. It's about being fighting fit, but let's have a quick look down the chat before we do it. Yeah. Mark Wilkie, British nationalism has gone into overdrive since 2014. And I'm going to tell you a wee story here. I'm married to a lovely Russian lady. We've got a beautiful wee son together. And behind me here, that is a finger painted saltire from 2014 that me and the kids made on the day of the referendum. We've signed it, we've dated it, and it's a bit of a family heirloom. It sits above my mantelpiece. It's a showpiece for here as well, for the shows. But when she came across and she discovered that I was a member of the SNP, she thought that I was one of those nasty people, spelled it wrong, but a bit right wing. She was thinking, what? Are you a nationalist? This is, well, there's a massive difference between Scottish nationalism and, let's say, British nationalism or English nationalism. And it would be very difficult for me to explain that to you just now. But as we progress through our lives together, you will understand it a little bit more. And she does now, which is a beautiful thing, because Scottish nationalism is completely different from British nationalism. And we all have to take pride in that as activists. But activists, fighting fit stuff, right? Okay. Scotland's independence will never be a gift. It's something that we must fight together for. Too many in the movement are waiting, hoping someone else will act, or worse, misdirecting their frustration and tearing down allies. This is really important. We need to understand that independence is not built on complacency or division. So if you're sitting there moaning about it and you're doing nothing, then don't moan about it. Just go and start doing wee things. And we'll talk about that in a second too. And then there's division. Are we too angry within ourselves to actually expand and look outwards at the bigger picture, that if we had our collective energy working in that direction, both on the doorsteps and on the digital battlefield, could we not gain some ground? We get really good things like this budget. It's positive momentum. Even if you hate the SNP, you can't deny it's a positive thing, you know. We don't need grand gestures and dramatic speeches. We need action, small consistent actions that keep the movement alive every single day. Excuse me, my voice is going. 1 second, please. So, I want you to think about this. Imagine if every one of us just spent 15 minutes a day, 7 days a week, being an activist, a digital activist for independence. So that would be 15 minutes sharing a few social media posts, 15 minutes reading an article to sharpen your own arguments, 15 minutes having a conversation with someone who's undecided. We all know these people. Small efforts like this, multiplied by thousands of us, create an unstoppable force. And social media is one of our most powerful tools. Yet, you know something, we have these things called the algorithm, and the algorithm sometimes prevents us from reaching as many people as we should. But what it doesn't do, it doesn't stop you posting on your Facebook page, say, a link to this live stream, or a link to another video, or an article in the National. All right? It doesn't stop you doing that. It doesn't stop you then sharing that to 10 of your mates on your own social media. See, if you're not doing things like that, that's the complacency. I've come across several really hardcore pro-indie people that have got their pro-indie page, and it feeds out to other pro-indie people, but they post nothing on their personal pages. What's the point? The personal pages is where the people are, the people that might need to be engaged a little bit more, you know? So the algorithm might sort of like, I mean, companies pay Facebook, Instagram, Twitter to have adverts and to say, we want to target 25 to 30 year olds that voted for the SNP with this stuff here. And they pay thousands of pounds to have an article or something like that to be forced upon them through the algorithm, all right? Because they've got all that data. Mental. Okay, the Unionists do the same thing. Did anybody notice during the election that Labour had, like, maybe every time you scrolled down Twitter, there was like a ridiculous amount of Labour posts and Labour adverts? That's all bought and paid for by the algorithm as well. They just do it. They just do it. So we get round that by liking, by sharing, by engaging positively with positive words in the comments, okay, by sharing it directly to your mum, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, your pals. Okay? Some of them might not like it, so choose your battles. Just choose them. Say one or two. Say, look, I thought about you when I saw this. Maybe relate it to something that, you know, was in their life. Everybody can relate to the budget just now. Put something like that out. You know? Crazy. Anyway, they do try to silence us with algorithms, but they can't stop us sharing directly to our friends and family. And we can't afford to be silent, because complacency is the real enemy of independence. I know the energy has dropped since 2014. It was on a bit of a high when we sent all those great MPs down to Holyrood. It felt like we were going somewhere. And then there was lots of division and mistrust between the SNP, and Alapa came along. And you know something, right? I get why Alapa and Alapa activists are frustrated. I really, really do, because I understand greatly how the additional member system works. It's something that we should all truly understand, and we're going to do that in a minute or two, right? But I think it's important as well. You have to understand why in 2021, why Alapa was so frustrated. They had enough candidates in each region that if the people that voted for the SNP on the list, okay, voted for them instead, we would have had an Alapa opposition of about 32 MSPs in opposition that were pro-Scottish. Now, regardless of their politics, okay, if you're thinking, I'm not voting for them because of politics, I'm not going to do that because they're so toxic, I don't like because you're SNP and they're Alapa, then you're losing the battle straight away. Politics is a tool to be used, and we have to get over that. We have to get over our political allegiances. We need to see politics as a tool, as a voice in the establishment that is pro-independence. And would you not rather have an SNP government, for all its faults and all its graces, okay, discussing independence and pro-Scottish policies with people that also want independence? They might have a different tune slightly towards how we get it. They might have a slightly different tune about how to manage Scotland. But they're still wanting independence. I want a pro-Scottish government and a pro-Scottish opposition, because it'll be the only way to out-tune and tune out the noise that Reform are going to cause and the rest of the Unionists. It would really put them on the back foot. It just has to be done. Pro-Scottish government, pro-Scottish opposition. And this is a conversation starter with people, especially those that may not understand the additional member system. You don't need to go into the nuances of it all. I'm going to go into the nuances of it all so you're armed and understand it all, right? But you just start a conversation with, why have we never voted in a Scottish opposition as well as a Scottish government? Oh, it's not possible to. I thought it was with the additional member system. I'm going to go and look that up. Yeah, that's a good idea. You know, we could go and do that. It's something, you plant the seed with Socratic questioning, and they go away and have a little session of critical thinking amongst themselves in their own little world in their brain, thinking, why haven't we? I'm pro-independence, but I've always voted SNP 1 and 2. Why have we never thought about that before? Why am I so entrenched in my views for Alapa? Why am I so entrenched in my views for the SNP? Why can't, it's not even working together. I don't give a shit about that, right? I really couldn't care less. I just want a pro-Scottish Holyrood. I want Holyrood to be pro-Scottish and not have as many pro-Westminster party people in. By the way, I've gone totally off script, by the way, completely here. That was probably a bit better. Anyway, let me play this jingle and then we shall move on with the presentation about the additional member system.
Scotland's independence won't be handed to us. It must be earned. Yet too many in the movement wait for others to act or waste energy tearing each other down. Independence requires focus, sacrifice, and daily commitment. Imagine if every activist gave just 15 minutes a day to sharing content, starting conversations, or spreading the word. Social media alone can create a tidal wave of awareness. Westminster's injustices, draining Scotland's oil, forcing Brexit, blocking our policies, demand action. Independence isn't given by politicians, it's demanded by people. Grassroots energy drives change, and we must unite, not divide. To the SNP, you've shown good governance under devolution. But now you must become activists for independence alongside us. If not, Holyrood could fall to Unionist control, and we may never see a pro-independence government again. Will you rise to this challenge, or let history slip through your fingers?
Oh, where's my mic? There's my mic. Some of those AI pictures are quite fun that I generate for those little jingles. Listen, 15 minutes a day is something you can start with very, very easily. I'm going to bring up this image just now. Hopefully it's the right one. No, that's not the right one. Hang on. Crap. There we go. That one. Yes, here we go. This here is screen capture it, do whatever you want, right? The QR code's here. The one on the left is takes you to the lazy links that I've got, which is everything you see there. Okay, all the social media that we put together with Saorsa, and then the one on the right, the two on the right, sorry, is Facebook page and the private Facebook group. So I'm going to give you a wee challenge, right? If you're on Facebook, go and make yourself known on the private Facebook group. You do need to answer all the questions. If you don't answer all the questions, and the questions are really cheesy, all right, really, really cheesy. Okay, that's a private group for discussions. I don't think we've got any unionists in there, which is great. It's just a small group. It's good fun. But the public Facebook page, you can share things to. You can drop me a link on there, and we'll share them. This is your 15 minutes worth of homework a day. You're sitting on the bus going to work, all right? You're sitting on the train going to work. You're on your lunch hour, and I'm sure that you pick up your phone on your lunch hour anyway. Okay, I'm sure that you do. Hang on, how does this work? There we go. I'm back again. I'm sure that you pick up your phone on your lunch break or whatever. There's nothing stopping. I'm sure you probably even look at pro-indie stuff. You probably already do this. Do more. Do more. Hi, Robert. How are you in TikTok land? Listen, it's really, really, really... Thank you, Barry. I am a hapless techno weenie. That's because I'm pushing the wrong buttons on the thing here. It's so important. It really is important. And I'll keep going on about it. That's why I play the jingle right at the start that says like and share, share and like. It's important to do it. If you don't do it, don't complain about not having independence. During the winter months, we can't go door to door as much. We can't have as many stalls out in the street. We can't be leafleting, things like that. But we can be doing it here. We can. All right. We can be sharing stuff. If you need to know how to use your Instagram stories to put links in, if you need to know how to use Blue Sky to put stuff in, listen, join the Discord. I will do a masterclass on how to manipulate social media. Okay. If you don't have Facebook, go and set one up. It's not a great place, but you know something? It's where a lot of the target market that we need to have changing their minds are. The youngsters are really on Blue Sky, TikTok and Instagram. My son's getting a lot more involved now. I gave him a bunch of my business cards out, and he sends me photographs every time he hands one out, which is great. So he's given out loads, which is very positive. But there you go. All right. I'll put that image up again. Hold on now. Screen capture it. Okay. Use the QR codes to go to the Facebook pages on the right. If you want to go and see the rest of our stuff, that's the QR code on the left. I'll put it up at the end of the show as well for you. And just say that you saw me on the live. You were chatting to us in the chat and everything like that. Okay. Right. Okay. So we're going to do this presentation now, and I need to make sure I've got it set up here before we change the screen. Otherwise I will be called a hapless techno weenie. Okay, so we talked before about having a pro-Scottish government and a pro-Scottish opposition in Holyrood. A pro-indie government led by the SNP, bolstered by other pro-independence voices, would serve Scotland's future far more effectively, even under devolution, especially if our opposition benches were also filled with MSPs committed to independence. Unionist parties like Labour, the Tories and Lib Dems remain extensions of their London-based mother parties, and their allegiance to Westminster means that they can never truly prioritise Scotland's interests. Replacing Unionist influence with pro-Scottish representatives would transform Holyrood. The political debates would shift from how to best secure Scotland's future rather than rehashing old arguments to our right to independence. This approach creates a parliament focused on Scotland's prosperity, denying Unionists the chance to undermine our confidence. Unionist parties thrive by casting doubt on Scotland's ability to stand alone. Limiting the influence ensures a unified push towards self-determination. If you've got a Holyrood debating chamber, a parliament full of pro-Scottish, pro-independence MSPs, it becomes undeniable that Scotland wants independence. So, let's have a quick look at how this is going to work. Let's see, will it come up? Yes, here we go. I'm going to talk through these slides just now. This is going to get boring for some people, alright? So, please forgive me in all essence for it. So, we're going to talk about the additional member system and how the list seats are calculated, okay? So, there are 7 list seats in each region, and these seats are allocated by a means of proportional representation. And this prevents a single party from dominating the constituencies and the list. It did happen in 2011 because it was a sweet spot of a grey area at the right time where the right amount of constituency seats kind of offset the votes that we had on the list. And we ended up with a majority, which was ridiculously amazing. Anyway, the formula for this calculation is as follows. Now, this isn't made up. This is exactly how it is calculated, okay? So the total number of seats are divided by the total amount of seats 1 plus 1. So for instance, right, okay, the total number of lists, it should be list votes are divided by, that's a spelling mistake, and a half there, are divided by the total number of seats plus 1. So for instance, we'll go into it, hold on. So total list votes divided by total list seats 1 plus 1 equals your adjusted votes, okay? Big words, it'll become apparent in a minute or two. Okay, so this calculation is repeated and taking into account of any new seats won, which is added to the divisor of the party that won it. So let's take a simple example. The Yellow Party has won 9 constituency seats. It also received 100,000 votes on the list. Okay? So the calculation for this would be 100,000 votes divided by 9 plus 1. Because they've already won 9 seats on the constituencies, they have plus 1 onto it because that's just how the divisor works. So basically 100,000 votes on the list gets reduced right down to 10,000 votes that are now called adjusted votes. So they start the list sort of way of distributing the seats with, instead of 100,000 votes, they start with 10,000 votes. That's kind of scary, isn't it? So let's take it a step further and look at 3 other parties in this fictitious election. The Blue Party, we'll call them the Blue Party, had no constituency seats in this election, but they did get 50,000 list votes. The Red Party, also no constituency seats, and they got 80,000 list votes. And then there's the Purple Party, they got 25,000 list votes, but no constituency seats as well. In all these instances, the other parties won no constituency seats, so their calculations would be as follows. The Blue Party, with 50,000 votes, would have no other seats that they've won, so it would just be basically 50,000 divided by 1, which equals 50,000. The same for the Red Party and the same for the Purple Party. So due to not winning any constituency seats, the divisor for each of these parties is just 1. So they start with their full allocation of list votes. Compare that to the Yellow Party, which starts with 10,000 votes. 10,000 votes. So the Red Party wins the first round, okay, and has 1 added to their divisor. So you can see that there. The Red Party, 80,000 list votes divided by 1 plus 1 because they've won 1 now. So they start the next round with 40,000. The rest of the parties don't change simply because they've not won anything. And poor wee Yellow Party doesn't look like they're going to get anything. There's 7 rounds of these, so we'll just quickly rush through them all. Okay. So the Blue Party wins the second round because they had, let me just go back, they had 50,000, okay, 50,000 votes, compared to, they had the highest amount of votes. So this time round, they have one vote here, plus 1. So their 50,000 is divided by basically 2. So they end up with 25,000. Red Party wins the third round because they had the most votes last time, and their divisor gets changed again. That's 2 seats they've got now, plus 1. So that is basically 3 into 80,000 is 26,666 votes. Still nothing down here though with the Yellow Party, who's done really well at the constituencies. Fourth round, Red Party wins again. Okay. Taking their divisor to 4 now, so they've got 20,000 votes. The Blue Party, 25,000, they're going to win the next one. And then finally, the Purple Party will win this next round. Will they? Let's have a look. Yeah, Purple Party will win the next seat. Yeah, Purple Party wins 1. And then the very last round, if we have a look here, who's got the most votes, is the Red Party again. So the Red Party wins the 7th and final round. So in total, the Red Party wins 4 list seats, the Blue Party wins 2, the Purple Party wins 1, and the Yellow Party, with its 100,000 list votes, wins 0 seats because of the way that it's all divided. Utterly mental. Now, when you look at all that, right, it sounds really complicated, but to make it the easiest way possible, right, is you look at it and think, I've got more seats in the constituencies. You have less chance of getting seats on the list. That is the simplest way to do it. I'm going to put up other QR codes towards the end that will take you to the information I'm about to give you, the actual numbers or real events I'm going to show you in a second, and also the Scottish Government's website that explains all this. It's a tool used in schools so kids can learn about this, and it explains it a lot better than I do. So that is kind of the mechanics of the additional member system, all right? Basic understanding of the system. We're now going to go into about how both votes SNP failed in the 2021 elections, right? So what were your expectations when you voted both votes SNP in 2021? Did you expect a landslide in the list just because you were told that both votes would deliver this on vote share alone? That's what we were told. Consider the 2021 Scottish election in the Glasgow region. We're just going to take one region. This is where the SNP gained no list seats at all. And like the example, they won all 9 constituency seats, which is an incredible political success. Yet this very incredible achievement drastically reduced the effectiveness of their votes. They started with 111,062 votes, but because of the additional member system, 9 constituency seats plus 1, that 111,000 was divided by 10. So they only started with 11,000. Okay, so meanwhile, the parties of the Union, Labour, Conservatives, and the other indie party, the Greens, they all won no constituency seats and faced no additional divisor for it all. So the Labour retained 71,000 of all their votes, 71,000. The Tories kept their 46,000, and the Greens kept their votes as well. And that they were the ones that had the calculation going through. The SNP's overwhelming success in the constituencies meant that they were always at a serious mathematical disadvantage in the list allocation. In fact, across the whole country, 1.1 million votes were cast for the SNP across all the regions, and it only delivered 2 seats, which is insane. So I'm going to ask you a question. How many votes do you think the SNP would have had to have received to even get one vote in Glasgow? One thing. Right, I'm going to bring that up. I've got another wee boring presentation for you about that. Bring that up here now. Oh, no, go back one. There we are. And here we are. Right, so the SNP's 111 votes. There's 111 votes. I put that down wrong. Okay, constituencies plus one took it down to whatever. All right. Oh, hang on. No. The SNP's, I'm lost. I'm confused. There we go. To win the last seat, which was the Greens seat, the secured with 36,114 votes. So the Green Party got their one seat in Glasgow with 36,114 votes. The SNP would have needed to have surpassed this number with their adjusted vote. So they would have had to get 36,115 votes, basically, right? There we go. Oh, hang on. So they would have needed an adjusted vote count of 36,115. So to calculate that, we just do the D'Hondt equation backwards. All right, I'll show you how to do that. So if we needed 36,115 votes, which is one more than what the Greens' adjusted votes were, this is to get one seat, we multiply that by 10. So the SNP would have had to, in Glasgow alone, get 361,150 votes, unadjusted, just to get one list seat, because they did so well. Now, the crazy thing is, the total votes cast in the Glasgow list was only 281,000. So they were still going to be about 80,000 votes short of reaching, 360,000. They were never, ever going to win. They were never going to get that, ever. Which is just mental. Okay? We have to understand that the mathematics behind the D'Hondt system it's easy for me to talk through it all because I lived and breathed this all the time. During COVID, I sat and made spreadsheets about it all. And I was locked in the house. I was in isolation. So I did all this and I did every single election. Then I manipulated them to see what would have happened if we voted a different way. And it's quite frightening to think that, it would be totally different. So I'm going to do a fictitious thing. I'm not going to make it as long-winded as all what we've just done with those presentations, but I'll bring up another thing. I want you to think about what would have happened if we gave all those votes, all those list votes that the SNP had to a fictitious party in 2021. Let's just look at it from that point of view, okay? We will call, for the sake of argument, this fictitious political entity Saorsa, this site, right? We're going to call it Saorsa because I don't want to give it any other names to upset anybody, right? So where's my image? Here we go. It is this one here. So the fictitious Glasgow list vote allocation. So Saorsa, who's a list-only party, got every single one of the SNP votes, which was all those votes there. We win round 1, Labour wins round 2, Saorsa wins round 3, Tories win round 4, Saorsa wins another. In round 5, Labour wins again in round 6, and then the Greens win in round 7, just the way that it's all calculated, right? So that is 1, 2, 3 seats for Saorsa, 1 seat for the Greens. So that now is four MSPs that are pro-independence that are in Holyrood now, whereas before there was one, just one, and that was the Greens. Can you imagine this being replicated right across the whole of the country? I think I've got another one here. Let me just see, will this image work? No, that's not the one. Where is it? No, that's not the one either. Have I not put that one up? Pay no attention to me. There's that one. That's the Scottish election results. That's a shame. I thought I'd put another what's it called? Another image up that showed you how it replicated it right across the UK. Hold on a second. I might be able to bring it up on something else just now. Hold on. Won't be a second. Talk amongst yourselves for a second, please. And I will see if I can find it, because I did make it. It's not there. It's a shame. I mustn't have saved it. Hapless techno weenie. Anyway, when you do the calculations, all the way through it all, if this fictitious political entity, Saorsa, was receiving all the list votes that the SNP would have received and not delivered any party at all, any seats at all, it worked out to be 32 extra bums on seats between the Greens and this fictitious Saorsa party, right the way through the whole of the country. That meant, when you take into account all of the SNP seats and all of the Saorsa and the Green seats, you add them all together, it worked out to be, I think, about 94 MSPs, 93, 94 MSPs that were pro-Scottish, pro-independence sitting in Holyrood. Can you imagine what that would be like compared to what we have now? It's insane to think that. Insane. So, what do we do? We're going to be bombarded soon with both votes SNP, and then we're going to have political wrangling between the pro-independence parties, and we're going to get involved with shouting at our brothers and sisters in arms because of our political allegiances. We've got a year. Maximum. A year and a bit before that really starts to kick off. Maybe early next year if they don't get the budget through. So we need to be thinking about it now. And we need to be thinking about delivering that message about pro-Scottish opposition. Why have we not done that before? Why haven't we done it? We need to be doing that. Because if we don't, we are not gonna survive this. Holyrood will end up in the hands of the Unionists again. And I really, really, really don't want to see that happen. Oh.
Can't get no sleep.
Madness. I'm really disappointed I didn't have that photograph. I did make it earlier on. Maybe I left it on my phone. But what I'll do is I will actually, if you go to, I can definitely do that. Hold on a second. I'll go to my YouTube channel now. Hold on. And we shall look for the video that I made for, I'll bring it up in a sec. 1 second. No, it's not the studio I want. I took the Scottish Government's slideshow and I made a video out of it. And we need to go to videos, raw, right? So let's see, will this come up with capture? Yeah, it is. Here we go. Which one do you need to have to see? Where is it? This one here. Right, see this one here, the additional member system. Don't know if anybody can grab a link for that if they're about and stick that in any of the chats at all. Don't know if any of the mods can do it. We'll do it next time. Okay, but that's basically, that is what you're looking for on the YouTube channel, because I've done a voice to the things. Makes it easier. It's about 9 minutes long, right? And it talks through everything I went through in a much more organised fashion, to be perfectly honest. It's well worth it. Also, if anybody wants to look at the Scottish election results, that is the QR code that will take you to the Wikipedia page that I got the data from. And that one there is the QR code for the presentation that I just showed you that I did the voiceover for on elections and voting on the Scottish Parliament as well. But that's really about it. Yeah, I'm going to be jumping onto Discord in a minute, but speaking of Discord, there is, I don't know if you're aware of this, back in 2006, there was a Radio 4 documentary series called Document, and I got sent by one of my friends a little clip of a newspaper clipping, basically, that talked about this documentary. It's called Scotland's Oil. When it was originally aired, it was called It's Our Oil. And I went on a massive search for this documentary. It's just an audio documentary from the radio. Couldn't find it anywhere, but I found it in an audio book, and I got it. And I'm going to be broadcasting it in the Discord for the members in the Discord. So if you want to be part of the Discord group, okay, you need to get in touch with me through social media, through a PM, a message, so I can just see that you saw me here, and send me your Discord name, okay, and then in the next 24 hours, we will get you into the Discord so you can come and listen to this. We'll do a bit of a watch party. This is let me think, is this it? Yeah. So it's Documents That Changed the World. A BBC Radio 4 history. So this one is called Scotland's Oil now, and I listened to it twice last night, and I'm going to be cutting it up and making content out of it as well, because it's well worth it. We might even, if anybody's around, if anybody wants to come and listen to it, we'll stick it on tonight as well. It's about 27 minutes long, and it's like, oof, that's a bit crazy. But that's it for tonight. I'll look forward to speaking to some of you in Discord in the next 10-15 minutes. If anybody wants to come and join, you need to either send me a DM on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. It's probably the easiest way. Or you can even do info@saursascott.com. But I need to know that you've got social media. I need to see that you're pro-independence, because I'm just not going to let you in just for the sake of it. The Discord is quite secure for it all. Okay, brilliant. That is us. Yeah. See you in Discord, and if not, I'll see you next week. For watching.
I'll reach my hands out in the dark and wait for yours to.
Hold on. I'm not going just yet. Just had a wee message. Ruth, you haven't responded to my answer to your question. Hold on a wee second. I need to scroll back. Remember the dreadful rhetoric against the SNP by the ISP back in the day. I also remember the talk of forming the Alapa Party a couple of years before it was formed. Was that what you were looking for there, Ruth? Apologies, I'm just scrolling back on the chat just now, pal. What was the question? What was the question, Ruth? What's the Discord body? You need to send me your Discord name first, through one of the social medias before I actually I don't put it out publicly. I keep it very tight, simply because we've had issues with Discords and getting filled with people. You're interacting here, which is beautiful. So, we'll just need to send me a DM and I'll send you the link. Right. Ruth, apologies if I've not responded to answer your question. What would I like? UDI? Do I think like a unilateral declaration of independence? No. I think that the world would look upon us, unless we had like 100% of people coming into being pro-independence, and it was obvious that Scotland was going to go indie. I don't think UDI would be the right way to go. I think that no matter what path we take, right? Whatever path we take, Ruth, to get independence, it needs to be ratified by the people to be recognised. So this is why I've always gone like 3 pillars of independence. We need a competent political wing that may argue in Holyrood, but outside they're activists. We need an international wing like Salvo and Liberation Scot going and doing their thing to tell the world what we're doing, especially international bodies like the UN and the EU. And then we need us, the grassroots people, the foot soldiers doing the right thing, okay, all the time. So Salvo and Liberation Scot as one say they get the attention of the UN with what we're doing. Okay, we still need to have any form of independence ratified by the people for that. Okay, let's say we've got 62 SNP and 32 opposition MSPs that are like pro-independence. That's just the political wing fighting for Scotland there. But with that, working together, they can push for a form of like, they call it de facto. I don't like the word de facto. It's called a plebiscite. Plebiscite referendum is when you use any legal ballot box event to instigate constitutional change. De facto is a boring name. Right? It shouldn't be used. You should use plebiscite because it's a legally recognised term in international law. So yeah, that's what it is. Not UBI. Oh, universal benefits. Ah, man. I'm sorry. Right, universal basic income. Right, okay. Right, I think I quite like the idea of universal basic income. I think that the countries that have some form of it have a better standard of living for people, and it helps people. I think we've got a bit of a culture over here where some people think Scotland's benefit scroungers and things like that. But if a country's wealthy enough to look after its people from its own resources, I don't see why the people from the country can't benefit from them, to be perfectly honest. Cool. Right. Listen, I hope I've answered your question now, Ruth, because I'm going to go and push the button that ends the show again. Okay. Apologies that I didn't answer it. And yeah, we'll do that. A body, if you want to join the Discord, you need to download Discord as an app, or basically install it, not even install it on your computer. You can go to the website, set yourself up with an account, and then you'll need to go on to Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok and send me a message. The reason I only accept that kind of through social media is because I need to see that you're an activist. Doing social media stuff. If you don't have that, you can send me an email and we can certainly correspond and see what we can do about getting you in. Okay? Yeah, of course. The New Scotland Party, Henry, I've been looking at them. Right now, the last thing I read was, oh, you have Discord, brilliant. You won't use any of the others, right? No problem, I get that. So everything's a surveillance app, though. You know, you're sitting on a surveillance app just now, and so's Discord as well. You know, can't help. Your phone's a surveillance thing. So yeah, the New Scotland Party, quite like them. They've got interesting things to say. I don't know whether they're putting candidates forward yet or not for 2026. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm going to go now, because I'm pretty tired. I've not been well today as well. So there you go. Hope I've answered your questions in YouTube land. But we're going to disappear, and I'll speak to you all later. Take care.
It's so beautiful. I feel I can't even explain this.
You must stop this.
I can't. I won't.
You know what will happen.
You need to join me.
No one's gonna take me alive. The time has come to make things right. You and I must fight for our rights. to survive.